The spotlight burned. I stood on the platform in a white dress that cost more than my car, back when I had a car, and reminded myself that worse things had happened to better people. Lot 27, the auctioneer sang. 1 year companion contract. Bidding starts at 10,000. The men in tuxedos looked bored. This was the end of the night after the respectable auction items, after art and wine and weekend getaways. Now they were bidding on the desperate. I was lot 27. My name is Zariah Noel. I'm 26, and 3 months ago I made the worst decision of my life. I borrowed money from Marek Caldero to keep my brother alive. 10,000, someone called lazily. The number climbed 15, 20, 25. I focused on a crack in the ceiling and did math. 25,000 covered 4 months of Micah's treatment, maybe 5 if I stretched it. Then I'd be right back here, or worse. 30,000. Micah was 19 and dying of leukemia. Our parents were gone. Insurance was a joke. The hospital bills looked like phone numbers. So when Marek, legitimate businessman by day, loan shark by night, offered me a bridge loan, I signed. I didn't read the fine print. I definitely didn't understand that personal guarantee meant he could sell my contract to anyone, including a private auction house that specialized in companionship agreements. Legal, barely. Moral, depends who you ask. 40,000. I told myself I could survive a year of being some rich man's arm candy, smile at parties, laugh at bad jokes, whatever he wanted that didn't cross the blurry line into prostitution. And honestly, even that line was getting blurrier every day. 4 months ago, I had a degree in fashion merchandising, 3 styling jobs, and dreams. Now I had debt, desperation, and a spotlight that made me want to peel my skin off. 40,000 going once. 250,000. The room went silent. Every head turned. He stood in the back, hand raised, face unreadable, dark hair, sharp suit, the kind of handsome that knew it and didn't care. His eyes locked on mine, and something in his expression made my stomach drop. This wasn't lust. This was calculation. Sold, the auctioneer gasped, to Mr. Seo Rin. They walked me backstage to a private room where he was waiting. Javan Seo Rin. I'd Googled him in the 30 seconds I had with someone's phone. Billionaire. Tech and real estate. 32. Never married. Private to the point of paranoia. And apparently insane enough to drop $250,000 on a woman he'd never met. He stood by the window, hands in his pockets, looking at the city like it owed him money. "You overpaid," I said. He turned. Up close he was worse. Sharper jawline, colder eyes, the kind of controlled energy that made you think of caged predators. "I'm aware," he said. "So either you're stupid or you want something specific." I crossed my arms. "I'm betting on the second one." His mouth twitched. Almost a smile. "Sit." "I'll stand." "Sit," he repeated, "or this conversation will be very short, and you'll leave here with nothing." I sat. He pulled out a folder and slid it across the table. "That's the contract you signed with Marek Caldero. I had it pulled this afternoon." My chest tightened. "How did you—" "Money buys access." He opened it to a flagged section. "Section 12. Do you remember signing this?" I didn't. I barely remembered signing anything. It had been 2 a.m. in a hospital cafeteria. Micah was coding and Marek's pen was already in my hand. "In the event of borrower default," Javan read, "borrower agrees that creditor may transfer debt obligation to a third party, including transferring any personal guarantees or collateral." What does that mean? "It means he sold you." His eyes met mine. "Legally. You're not a person in this contract. You're an asset." The room tilted. "That can't be legal," I whispered. It's barely legal, he agreed. But Marek's lawyers are very good. You'd need better lawyers to fight it, which costs money you don't have. So here you are. And here you are, I shot back. Why? He leaned back, studying me. Marek Caldero destroyed my father's first business in America 15 years ago. Predatory loans, forced asset sales, the whole playbook. My father spent a decade rebuilding. I spent that decade watching him break. So this is revenge. This is justice, he corrected. I'm going to dismantle Marek's operation piece by piece, expose his contracts, force audits, destroy his reputation, and you, he pointed at me, are going to help me do it. I laughed. Couldn't help it. You paid $250,000 for a witness? I paid for a partner, he said. Someone who knows his methods, someone he can't intimidate, because I'll make sure you're untouchable. Untouchable, I repeated. Right. And after you've ruined him, what happens to me? You're free. Free. The word tasted like a trap. There's always a catch. The catch, he said, is that you have to live with me for a year. Public appearances, social events. You'll pretend to be my fiancée. My stomach dropped. Fiancée. The story is simple. We met at a charity gala, fell in love. I paid off your brother's medical debt as an engagement gift. Romantic. Believable. It gives you social protection and me a reason to be seen dismantling Marek's network, defending my future wife's honor. That's insane. That's strategy. He slid another document across. This is the real contract. Read it. I did. It was weird. 1 year. Cohabitation required. Public relationship required. Private relationship optional, with an entire section on consent that basically said no means no and you don't owe me anything. Financial terms, all debt cleared, monthly stipend, trust fund for Micah's care, separate housing allowance if I wanted my own space after 6 months. Termination clause, either party could end it with 30 days notice. This is the opposite of what I expected, I admitted. What did you expect? An intimacy contract. You know, he didn't flinch. I don't need to buy consent. If that happens between us, it happens because we both want it, not because you're afraid I'll stop paying your brother's bills. I stared at him. You're either the best liar I've ever met or you're actually serious. I'm serious. He leaned forward. I need someone smart enough to stand next to me in public and not flinch when Marek comes for us. And he will. I need someone angry enough to see this through. And I need someone who won't confuse this arrangement with a romance novel. What if I do? I asked. Confuse it, I mean. His jaw tightened. Then we'll deal with that when it happens. You're very confident it won't be you doing the confusing. I'm confident, he said, that I can keep business and personal affairs separate. Liar, I said. His eyes flashed. Excuse me? You bid $250,000 on a stranger because of a 15-year-old grudge, I said. That's not business. That's personal. You just want to pretend it's strategy. Silence. Then sign the contract or don't. But decide now. Marek already knows I bought you. If you walk away, you're still in his system and I can't protect you. Why would you protect me if I don't sign? Because watching him hurt you to get to me would make me complicit, he said quietly, and I'm not him. I looked at the contract, at the clause about Micah's trust fund, at the termination option, at the section labeled renegotiation of terms in the event of emotional entanglement. You have a feelings clause, I said. My lawyer insisted. Which one of us is she worried about? He met my eyes. Both. I picked up the pen. If I sign this and you turn out to be another monster, I said, I will burn your life down. If I turn out to be a monster, he replied, I'll hand you the matches. I signed. He signed.
And just like that, I sold a year of my life to a man I didn't trust for a freedom I wasn't sure existed in a game I didn't know how to play. "Welcome to the family," he said dryly. "We're not family." "We're engaged," he said. "As of tonight, the press release goes out." "I haven't
even met your family. Neither have I in 3 years, he said. We'll fix that when it's strategically useful. I stared at him. He stared back, and I realized I had just agreed to fake marry the most emotionally unavailable man in Seoul. Sorry, New York, for revenge. This was either going to be the best decision of my life or the one that finally killed me. The smart money was on the second option. Asked to. The game. His penthouse looked like a magazine spread, glass, steel, a view that cost more than most people's houses. I stood in the living room at 1 a.m., still in the white dress, and tried not to cry. Your room is down the hall, he said. Bathroom's stocked. Inez, my housekeeper, left clothes. We'll shop tomorrow. You're very efficient. I don't like wasting time. Must be nice, I muttered. Having enough money that time is the only thing you worry about wasting. His expression flickered. I'll let that slide because you've had a difficult night. How generous. Zaria, don't. I held up a hand. Don't do the comforting billionaire thing. You bought a year of my life for revenge. I signed because my brother is dying. Let's not pretend this is anything other than what it is. He watched me for a long moment. You're right, he said finally, but for the record, I don't regret it. You don't regret buying a person. I don't regret giving you an exit from Merrick. He moved toward the hallway. Get some sleep. Tomorrow we face the internet. He left me standing there, alone in a glass tower, engaged to a stranger. I should have felt trapped. Instead, I felt something worse, hope. 3 days later, the internet was on fire. The headline, Billionaire buys Black woman at auction, romance or slavery redux. I sat in Javan's office scrolling through comments that made me want to throw my phone into the ocean. She's a gold digger. He's a white savior. Wait, he's Korean? Still applies. This is human trafficking and they're both going to jail. I ship it. I looked up. Javan was on a call, pacing by the window, arguing with someone in Korean. His tie was loose, sleeves rolled up. He looked like he hadn't slept. When he hung up, I said, We're a disaster. We're a headline, he corrected. There's a difference. My face is on TMZ. Your face, he said, sitting across from me, is on every major outlet, which means Marek is watching, which means he's going to make a move. And then what? Then we respond. He slid a folder across. These are financial records from 3 women who signed contracts with him in the last 2 years. I had investigators pull them. Look at the interest rates. I looked. 30%, I breathed. That's illegal. It is, he agreed, but proving it in court requires witnesses, living witnesses who aren't terrified of him. You want me to find them. I want you to talk to them, he said, woman to woman, no lawyers, no threats, just honesty. I met his eyes. You're asking me to convince other people to blow up their lives because I blew up mine. I'm asking you to give them the option I gave you, he said, a way out. I looked back at the files. 3 women, 3 lives. What if they say no? Then we find another way, he said. But Zariah, he leaned forward, if we do nothing, he keeps doing this forever. I hated that he was right. Fine, I said, but I do this my way. Agreed. And you stay out of it. His jaw tightened. I don't like you walking into danger alone. I'm not asking for permission. We stared at each other. You're stubborn, he said. You're controlling. I'm protective. I'm not yours to protect, I shot back. Something flashed in his eyes. Anger, frustration, something else I couldn't name. Legally, he said, voice low. You are. Legally, I replied, standing. You're my fake fiancée, not my owner. I walked out before he could respond. 2 weeks in, I met the first woman. Her name was Lauren, 23, bartender. Marek had loaned her money for her mom's surgery. We sat in a coffee shop in Brooklyn, and I told her everything. He sold you? She whispered. He sold my contract, I said. Yours probably has the same clause. Her hands shook around her cup. I can't fight him. He knows where I work, where my mom lives. I know, I said, but I have someone who can protect you, someone with enough money and lawyers to make Marek think twice. The billionaire. She'd seen the headlines. Yeah. Is he good to you? I thought about Javon, the way he kept his distance, the way he argued with me like I was an equal, not a possession, the way he'd looked at me last night when I came out of my room in jeans and a t-shirt and said, "You look more like yourself." He's complicated, I said. That's not an answer. Yes, I admitted. He's good to me. She studied my face. You like him. I don't trust him yet. But you like him. I didn't answer. She smiled sadly. Be careful. Men like that, men with money and plans, they don't fall in love. They acquire. He's not acquiring me. You sure about that? 1 month in, I moved from the guest room to his room, not because of romance, because someone tried to break into the penthouse. Aaron, the head of a security, insisted, "You're safer if you're in the primary suite. Better locks, panic button, direct line to building security." Javan stood in the doorway of my old room, watching me pack. "You don't have to do this," he said. "Your security guy says I do." "Aaron works for me. I can override him." I looked up. "Do you want me to stay in here?" He was quiet for a long moment. No, he said finally. "I want you safe." "Then I'm moving." That night, I lay in a bed the size of my old apartment, on the far edge, staring at the ceiling. He lay on the other side, equally far away, equally awake. "This is weird," I said into the dark. "Agreed." "You snore." "I don't snore." "You do, lightly, like a fancy tea kettle." A pause. Then, "Did you just compare me to a tea kettle?" "A fancy one." He laughed, quiet, surprised, genuine. It was the first time I'd heard him laugh. "Go to sleep, Zaria," he said. "You first." Neither of us did. 6 weeks in, Marek made his move. I was leaving the hospital after visiting Micah when a car pulled up. Wrong car, wrong driver. The window rolled down. Marek smiled. "Get in." "No, it wasn't a request."
2 men got out. Big. Professional. My heart hammered. I reached for my phone. One of them grabbed my wrist. Then a black SUV screeched to a stop between us, and Aaron stepped out with 3 other guards. "Remove your hand," Aaron said calmly, "or lose it." The man let go. Marek's smile didn't falter. "Tell your boss he can't protect you forever." "Tell him yourself," Aaron replied. "He's on his way." Marek's car pulled away. I stood there shaking until another car arrived. Javan got out, still in a suit, eyes scanning me like I was a document he was checking for errors. "Are you hurt?" he asked. "No." "Did they touch you?" One grabbed my wrist. Aaron handled it. His jaw clenched so hard I thought it would crack. "Get in the car," he said. "I'm fine." "Zaria." His voice was sharp. "Get in the car." I got in. He didn't speak the entire drive. When we got back to the penthouse, he went straight to his office and slammed the door. I stood in the hallway, confused and angry and still shaking. Then I heard something crash. I opened the door. He stood by the window, fist bleeding, a shattered glass on the floor. "What the hell?" "I should have seen this coming," he said, not looking at me. "I should have anticipated." "Stop!" "If they'd taken you?" "They didn't." "If they had?" He turned and the look on his face stopped me cold. Fear. Raw, unfiltered fear. "You're not supposed to get hurt," he said quietly. "That wasn't part of the plan. Plans change. Not this one." He crossed to me, stopping just close enough that I could see the muscle jumping in his jaw. "I will not let him touch you. Do you understand? You can't control everything. Watch me." We stood there too close, breathing too hard. "Your hand is bleeding," I said. He looked down like he'd forgotten. I grabbed his wrist and pulled him to the kitchen, ran his hand under cold water, found the first aid kit, wrapped his knuckles while he watched me in silence. "You're good at this," he said. "I've patched up Micah 100 times." "That's not what I meant." I looked up. His eyes were on my face, dark and intent. "What did you mean?" I asked. "You're good at making me feel like a person," he said quietly, "instead of a chess piece." My breath caught. "Javen, I know," he said. "Wrong time, wrong reason, but I'm telling you anyway, because pretending is starting to feel like lying, and I don't want to lie to you." "Tell me what?" I whispered. His good hand came up, fingers brushing my jaw. "That this stopped being fake 3 weeks ago," he said. "At least for me." My heart slammed against my ribs. "We have a contract," I said. "Fuck the contract." "You wrote the contract." "I know." His thumb traced my cheekbone. "And I'm starting to regret it." "Why?" "Because it has an end date," he said, "and I don't want one." I should have stepped back. I should have reminded him about power dynamics and trauma bonding and all the reasons this was a terrible idea. Instead, I said, "Kiss me." He did, slow, careful, like he was afraid I'd break or disappear. I kissed him back harder, fisting my hands in his shirt, pulling him closer. He made a sound low in his throat, and his control snapped. His hand slid into my hair, tilting my head back, and the kiss turned desperate, hungry, real. When we finally broke apart, we were both breathing hard. "This complicates things," I said. "Everything about you complicates things," he replied. "Is that a complaint?" "It's an observation." His forehead rested against mine. "I don't do complicated. I do strategy." "How's that working out?" "Terribly," he admitted. "You're the worst investment I've ever made." "Romantic." "You're also the best," he added quietly. I pulled back to look at him. "I need you to understand something," I said. "I'm not staying because of money or protection or because I signed a piece of paper." "Why are you staying?" "Because for the first time in 2 years," I said, "I feel like I'm fighting with someone instead of alone. And because when you look at me, you see a person, not a debt, not a contract, just me." His hands framed my face. "I see you," he said. "I see someone who walked into hell and came out with her middle finger raised. I see someone who fights for her brother and argues with me and refuses to be managed. I see someone I don't deserve but want anyway." "You can't buy me," I said. "I know." "And you can't fix me." "I know. And this might not work." "I know." He kissed me again, softer. "But I'd rather fail with you than succeed without you." It was the most honest thing anyone had ever said to me. "Okay," I whispered. "Okay? Okay," I said. "Let's burn the contract and see what happens." He smiled. And for the first time since the auction, I smiled back and meant it.
Act 3, The Reckoning. 3 months in, we had 4 witnesses, a lawyer on retainer, and a plan. We also had a problem. Marek knew we were building a case. He sent a message via a tabloid. Billionaire's fake fiancée was a prostitute. Exclusive photos. The photos were fake. The damage was real. I sat in the living room staring at my phone while the internet decided whether I was a victim or a villain. Javen paced on the phone with his legal team, his PR team, his security team. When he hung up, I said, "We need to hold a press conference." "Absolutely not." "He's controlling the narrative," I said. "We take it back." "By putting you in front of cameras?" His eyes flashed. "He'll destroy you." "He's already trying," I shot back. "At least this way I get to tell my side." "No, it's not your decision." "Like hell it isn't. I'm not your wife," I shouted. "I'm not even your real fiancée. You don't get to protect me from every hard thing." Silence crashed between us. "Is that what you think I'm doing?" he asked quietly. "Yes. I'm trying to keep you alive, Zaria." "I don't need you to save me," I said. "I need you to trust me." He stared at me. "Fine," he said finally. "Do the press conference, but I'm there with you." Deal. The press conference was brutal. Questions came like bullets. "Did you know you were being auctioned? Are you really engaged, or is this a publicity stunt? How much did he pay you for sex?" I answered everyone, calmly, clearly, without flinching. And when they asked about the photos, I said, "Those images are fabricated. But even if they weren't, even if I had sold my body to save my brother, that would make me desperate, not disposable." The real story here isn't about me. It's about a system that forces people to choose between their dignity and their families' lives. And it's about men like Marek Caldero who profit from that desperation. The room went silent. Javen's hand found mine under the table. I squeezed back. 4 months in, Marek was arrested, federal charges, wire fraud, racketeering, conspiracy. The 4 women testified. I testified. Javen sat in the gallery every single day, watching. When the jury read the verdict, guilty on all counts, I walked out of the courtroom into his arms. "It's over," I said into his chest. "Not yet," he replied. He took me to the hospital. Micah was in remission. Full remission. I cried so hard I couldn't breathe. Javen held me while I sobbed into his expensive suit and didn't say a word. 6 months in, the contract expired. We stood in his office, the original document between us. "We should probably talk about this," he said. "Probably," I agreed. Neither of us moved. "I don't want you to stay because you're grateful," he said finally. "I'm not. Or because you feel obligated." "I don't. Or because—" I kissed him. When I pulled back, he looked dazed. "I'm staying because I love you," I said. "You're controlling and emotionally constipated, and you
Solve everything with money, but you also see me. You fight for me. You make me feel like I'm worth something beyond my use, and I don't want to spend the next year wondering what could have happened if I stayed." He stared at me. "Say something," I said. "I love you too," he said. "I have since the hospital, when you told Micah you didn't trust me yet, because you were honest even when it would have been easier to lie." That's a weird moment to fall in love. "You're a weird woman to fall in love with." I laughed. He kissed me, and when we finally pulled apart, he tore the contract in half. "New deal," he said. "No end date, no clauses, no strategy." "Just us?" I asked. "Just us." I kissed him again. "For the record," I said, "you're still the worst investment you ever made." "And the best," he replied. "And the best," I agreed. 1 year later, we got married. Real marriage, not fake. Micah walked me down the aisle in a rented tux, healthy and whole, and crying. Javan cried too. So did I. Because a year ago, I sold myself to survive. And somehow, I bought myself a future instead. Not because of money, not because of a contract. Because 2 broken people decided to stop pretending and start being honest. And sometimes that's the only investment that matters. The end. If Zaria and Javen's story made you feel something, anger, hope, butterflies, or even just "I need to call my therapist," I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Tell me, did you see the romance coming, or were you team this will never work? What would you have done in Zariah's position? Should I write more stories like this? Enemies to lovers, forced proximity, morally grey billionaires who learn to communicate? If you enjoyed the story, smash that like button so the algorithm knows you have taste. Subscribe for more romance stories that'll wreck your emotions in the best way. Comment contract clause if you caught that feelings clause callback at the end. Share this with someone who needs a good cry and a better love story. I post new stories every week. Everything from second chance romance to fantasy love stories to why are they like this rom-coms. Your support means I can keep bringing you stories about messy, complicated, beautiful love. Until next time, remember, you're not defined by your worst circumstances. You're defined by what you do when you finally have a choice. Now go hydrate, process your feelings, and maybe text someone you love.